What's up, YouTube? My name is Vinny Fraser, also known as Vincentius Music, here with my beautiful fiance,
Becca.
And we are Real Reactions. Blah. What's up, YouTube? Thanks for coming to our channel today. Real Reactions here, and today we're kind of getting back into some Mac Miller. We have a lot of requests for Mac Miller on the channel, and I can't wait to get into them, but man, I can't get this video out of my head ever since we got Mac Miller to the channel. I really want to share it with Becca, and that means I want to share it with all of you. So, how Mac Miller created a musical circle. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to like the video in the description that we are reacting to under Dissect Podcast. And don't forget, if you change your perception, you could change your reality. Every song mentioned in this video will be on the list for reactions from Mac Miller. A couple of them we already have requests for. But this is just really awesome way of explaining how the creative genius of Mac Miller worked. And people don't know this. So I thought it'd be interesting to share with the channel.
Just over a year after the death of rapper, producer, and songwriter Mac Miller, Mac's family shared a heartfelt letter to his fans on Instagram. This was in January of 2020, and the letter announced the upcoming release of a new album Mac was recording.
Is he going to read that whole thing? Okay, well then I am. Wow, how sad. What an intense, feeling to be in a room with, creating this without him there. Whoever's in that room producing this for Mac Miller, anybody in that room. Yeah. I feel like my whole body is the core of me is tight and tense, and honestly reading his first, his real name, Malcolm, kind of threw me off for a second because I was expecting Mac Miller. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The energy was probably...
It is crazy. It's cool. You should read this when you get the time. I've read it a couple times. Oh, we cut that. But yeah, we read that real quick. Let's get it.
January of 2020, and the letter announced the upcoming release of a new album Mac was recording at the time of his death. It was called Circles, and it was meant to be a companion to his previous album, Swimming.
Notice the cover art.
Circles.
Okay, notice his cover art choose for his albums too, along with what choices, along with what this gentleman is saying. This is super important for a side note of something that I continuously run on along this channel without saying it, okay? But it's there, always talking about it.
Is it this right here?
Yeah.
It was called Circles, and it was meant to be a companion to his previous album, Swimming. Quote, "Swimming in circles" was the concept. I recently did a deep dive into these two albums, looking for connections between them. I made some pretty amazing discoveries. One of them literally made me jump off my couch. I'm Cole Kushna, host of Spotify's music analysis podcast Dissect, a show that breaks down one album per season, one song per episode. Today, in honor of the anniversary of Mac Miller's final project, we're drawing connections between the companion albums Swimming and Circles.
So the frequency waves. Cool.
Okay, so let's jump right into Swimming. The album was released in 2018, just a month before Mac passed. In it, Mac speaks candidly about his battle with mental health and addiction, things he struggled with most of his adult life. This struggle is expressed through a metaphor about swimming in the album's opening track.
Bro, we have got to get to this track right here.
Bro?
This struggle is expressed through a metaphor about swimming in the album's opening track.
And I was drowning, but now I'm swimming through stressful waters to relief.
When faced with a choice to sink or swim, it appeared Mac was choosing to swim, to survive, to stay afloat. It's a hopeful way to start an album.
Yeah.
But by the album's end, we're forced to second-guess these optimistic opening lines. Here's the final line of the final verse of the album's final song.
My God, it go on and on, just like a circle I go back round from. Everybody.
The line seems to evoke the biblical proverb from ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The idea that when we die, we return to the state we were before our birth.
Circles.
This illusion.
Alright, so now it's already a double. He's already going into how the whole entire concept of the album is a double entendre, right? But it goes deeper, man. We're only 2 minutes in. Check this shit out.
That when we die, we return to the state we were before our birth. This allusion to death extends into the song's instrumental outro. According to a tweet made by Mac, this outro was supposed to evoke, quote, the ascension into heaven. Mac actually tweeted about this on the day he died. Just 10 hours later, he was pronounced dead from an accidental drug overdose. He was just 26 years old.
So you hear that he said the concept of the circles. Hold up, let me just hear him say it one more time.
Oak, quote,
sorry, hold up.
Birth. This allusion to death extends into the song's instrumental outro.
This allusion to death, right? The idea of circles, ashes to ashes, extends into the instrumental's outro. So the audio without Mac's voice, the instrumental, is also going along with the scheme and the idea of circles. Come on, bro. That's just something different.
Our birth. This allusion to death extends into the song.
I like how he says this allusion to death.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, our vessels die, but our spirits live on and on and on, right? So.
Because energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transferred.
To the state we were before our birth. This allusion to death extends into the song's instrumental outro. According to a tweet made by Mac, this outro was supposed to evoke, quote, the ascension into heaven. Mac actually tweeted about this on the day he died. Just 10 hours later, he was pronounced dead from an accidental drug overdose. He was just 26 years old. Swimming's depiction of an ascent into heaven leads us into its companion, Circles. The album was released posthumously after Mac's producer, John Bryan, completed its...
Swimming's depiction of a descent into heaven, the very end of the album, leads us into his companion album, right? So now he's getting into the beginning of the following album. Come on.
Swimming's depiction of an ascent into heaven leads us into its companion, Circles. The album was released posthumously after Mac's producer, John Bryan, completed its remaining production needs. Like Swimming, Mac opens the album addressing its title.
Yeah.
I cannot be changed, I cannot be changed, no. Trust me, I've tried. I'd stand up right at the start of the line, drawing circles.
Mac uses the concept of drawing circles to express the redundancy of his efforts to change himself.
This is the third explanation of circles now used on this concept. This is just fucking phenomenal, and it's not done, man.
Drawing circles to express the redundancy of his efforts to change himself.
Hard.
With the
It's kind of hard to breathe, but I'm okay.
She's not tired, guys. She just has trouble breathing, and she works her ass off, so she's
Sometimes
just, it
it's
even
painful.
more makes it hard to breathe. And
Yeah.
drawing circles to express the redundancy of his efforts to change himself. With the concept of circles introduced in the closing moments of Swimming, these opening lines complete the link between the two albums. Despite his more hopeful
crazy.
attempts to swim to relief, Mac finds himself right back where he started, swimming in circles. This existential conception of circles permeates the entire album. At the end of the opening track, Mac uses a clock's rotating hands to point out the circular nature of each day. Mac returns to this very idea on the project's...
to point out the circular nature of each day. That's 4 different explanations now for circles.
circular nature of each day. Mac returns to this very idea on the project's last track, Once a Day. Here's the final moments of the album.
Once a day.
The first time I heard Once a Day,
Once a Day. Here's the final moments of the album.
Once a day I rise. Once a day I fall asleep with you. Once a day I try, but I can't find a single word.
okay.
The idea.
You hear that?
The worm?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That's not no accident, man. Like, just listen. But also, like, there's been times where I've been with someone listening to Mac Miller, or I think you even said something about in our last reaction when we did Good News, the way the intro came on, the way it was like such a beautiful instrumentation, and it was like unique and like out of this world, you know. But that also was no accident. Like, it's creative genius way deeper than any of us have an understanding of, and that's why I appreciate this guy for breaking it down.
Yeah, I mean,
for
check
us.
this out. He is definitely enlightened. Wait, I was gonna say something in the back of my mind. I forgot.
I try, but I can't find a single word.
Oh, that's like another double too, because like he could be saying that I try to communicate to you, but I don't know how. Like some days I just can't find words to say or do in like a relationship or whatever it has to do with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And it just goes in a circle.
yeah.
The idea of circles is evoked one last time as the perpetual cycle of waking in the morning and going to sleep at night. These are the small circles
Genius.
that create the larger circle of our life and death on Earth. But there's something else about this ending. I remember the first few times I listened to the album. The way it ended, it just didn't sit right with me. Specifically, it was the album's final chord that nagged at me. Take another listen.
A single word.
Doesn't quite sound complete, right? It kind of leaves you hanging. There's actually a technical reason for this. The song ends on a chord of extreme musical tension. Here's the last chord in isolation. Theoretically speaking, this chord is unstable. It's full of what we refer to in music theory as dissonance. When our ears hear an unstable chord like this, we crave...
Like that much
my
so
eyes
that
get all
he made the
watery,
last like chord of his song an unstable chord. What a genius.
That's not it, though.
Oh
That's,
my
I mean,
gosh,
that is
okay.
it, but that's not all of it.
as dissonance. When our ears hear an unstable chord like this, we crave resolution to a more stable chord. This is especially true at the end of a song. The vast majority of songs end on a stable chord. It's what gives a song a feeling of completion. But that's not what happens.
Because his life ended so abruptly, you know?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Like he knew it was going to, right? How?
But circles. So hold up.
It's what gives a song a feeling of completion. But that's not what happens. The album ends unresolved, and in such an obvious way. So obvious that I find it hard to believe that it wasn't intentional. The reason why Mac or producer John Bryan might have made this choice nagged at me for days. I thought maybe it ties in with the last line Mac sings on that song. Once a day I try, but I can't find a single word. The missing last chord might stand in for the words Mac just can't find.
Wow.
Or I thought maybe it's some kind of comment on the life of Mac Miller. Unstable, unresolved, cut short. This nagged at me so much I literally had the album playing on repeat trying to figure it out. I was sitting in my living room when once again I heard the final moments of the album. And then the album started over. I jumped up off the couch and went straight to my piano. I fumbled around on the keys trying to figure out the chords for this opening song. Turns out the first chord is a stable one, E major. Then I played through the chords of Once a Day, and when I got to that final unstable chord the album ends on, I followed it with this E major chord. I'll spare you all the technical details, but in music theory, this is a proper resolution.
Wow.
The final unresolved chord of circles is resolved by the chord that begins the album. It closes the loop. The album Circles is a circle.
I try, but I can't find a single word.
He's a genius, dude. How crazy. It's
We may never know
beautiful.
if this theoretical connection was an intentional choice made by Mac or Brian. Maybe it was deliberate. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was fate. To me, it doesn't really matter. It's there. And the way I see it, it fits perfectly into the concept of swimming in circles, the final, if not tragic, stroke of brilliance from the mind of Mac Miller.
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you for breaking that down. This fucking dude, this channel's so dope.
That was genius.
Yeah. Mac Miller, man, what a genius. Hell yeah, let us know if you guys knew all of that, or if not, comment below, man. I'm so stoked to share it with you all.
It changes the meaning of all the songs. Every single song now has changed. So when I go to hear a song on those albums, I'm going to hear it completely different knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
Are you okay? You're almost crying.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Okay.
It's important, man. It's so cool. It's so cool. And the final... the final thing for Circles is, like, for me anyway, is that he will live forever. He will literally live forever.
Yeah, but death is such a scary subject.
And so, like, Circles, like, people have him on repeat, man, forever. There will be people in 3070 that will want to listen to the music of the old age, and they will find people like Mac Miller and fucking, like, Ren, and it will blow their minds. So
I was listening to some Eazy-E today.
Olivia said she listens to
That's
Eazy-E.
because of Olivia. Olivia was like, Mom, can I put some music
cool.
on? I was like, sure. It was Eazy-E. Cruising down the street in my 6'4".
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Mac Miller, man, thank you for being a creative genius and sparking your brightness on this world.
It's called Eazy Old. It's weird, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Comment below if you knew that, or if there's any more information that you know that wasn't in this video. And we'll be bringing some more Mac Miller to the channel very soon. Yeah, man, real reactions. We out of here.